that we are also interested in, to stop this constant movement of prayers where they move from one school to another and sometimes without minding the academics.
So is there a way of protection?
Yes, we are definitely protecting protecting both the schools which invest heavily in the development of young players. We make sure that they cannot easily lose these players.
Okay.
And when we talk about investment, we find that there are schools which give bursaries, and with which bursaries, as our system has shown, has enabled more than 80,000 students that would not be in school to be in school.
Yes.
Now, those schools which give full bursaries, we protect them. We don't allow the players to move from one school to another unless the two schools have had a discussion. Once they have a discussion, and we don't want to mind how the discussion has gone. What we are saying is that if you want a prayer and the prayer has been on bursary, there is a school which has been investing in that prayer, go and talk to the administration. And the person we respect there in the school is definitely the headmaster, not the games teacher, we respect the head teacher, because we look at the investment in this prayer as not a personal investment, but as a school environment. But otherwise, for prayers who are not on bursary, we allow them to move because the parent has the right.
So they are free agents.
They are free agents. The parent has the right to move a prayer from one school to another, depending on his pockets and depending on his affordability, also depending on the standards that he wants. And once he decided to make a decision, we don't have any problem with it. The only limitation that we give about such a prayer from moving from one school to another, where the parent is the one paying, is that such a prayer may move at any one time of the year, but he cannot pray for more than one school in one season.
Okay. So the transfers are on, and what does today mean in terms of registration, enrollment, and transfers? Because today is the deadline day.
What today means is that at midnight today,
yes,
the system is set to close. And when it closes, it means that the prayers who are in the process of transferring, we shall still continue
transferring them.
But once the system has closed, it means that you can no longer input new data. But the data which is already there, we shall continue processing. Because we are also aware that there have been some delays. There are some requests which have not been answered.
Okay.
There are also some requests which were answered late. And the process which we are going through, whereby once the two schools have agreed, once they have uploaded all the documents, still the athletic status committee has to sit, look at the documents, verify them, and then accept the transfer. It is only then, when the committee has sat and accepted the transfer, that the transfer is done on the system. So that one will definitely continue. I'm glad to note that out of the 5,000 requests that we received through the system, 3,000 have already been completed by the end of today.
Okay.
And we hope that even after closure of the system, it will take just a few days and everything will be cleared.
In fact, according to the update, before coming here, all transfers that were approved by the releasing school by yesterday, they have been completed by today. So I think the officer is handling all the transfers that have been approved today.
Yeah, but today being the last day, definitely.
Of course, the pressure is much.
We hope the pressure is going to be much. There are some schools which thought that it only suffices to request for a prayer through the system. Actually, the requesting through the system to us is the end. Because by that time, you should have approached the other school, should have engaged them. They should even have given you a release letter, so that the moment you request, they immediately accept, upload all the documents, and then you are good to go.
Okay.
But most of the people thought that you just make a request in the system and you don't follow it up. That one, to me, it was a mistake. But I'm very sure that now that we are using the system, very many games teachers have now learned it. In the future, it will no longer be a problem. Okay.
So transfers and enrollment, registration, and all the kind of. Should people expect anything like a deadline extension? Or is there a fee for registration?
No, that is something that will have to be decided by the executive committee. I received very many requests from some of the executive committees. Although the others are saying no, once we set a deadline, the deadline should end, it should not be pushed. So what I've done, I've called an emergency meeting of the executive committee, and the executive committee will sit tomorrow, and when they sit, we shall consider the information at our disposal, and that information will guide us on the decision that we shall make tomorrow. But as far as we are concerned, and the advice I want to give to schools, let them not think of the extension. Because I cannot even, although I'm the president, I cannot tell you for sure that there will be an extension.
So what happens to those? I remember the communication came in saying for those athletes who have not moved or been enrolled or registered on the system, they become, what do they become there after today?
Now, after today, what we are saying is that we are now, and we have had very many meetings with the ministry, and what came out of those meetings was that we seem, USSA seems only to be protecting the schools that invest in these prayers. But at the end of the day, they said the prayer himself has also to be protected.
Yes.
So how do you protect the prayer? Because we have been told of some schools, they bring in very many prayers, even when they are not interested in them. They just load onto the system when they are not interested in them. And you know, these prayers, definitely, they need praying time.
Sure.
So the prayer would rather be in that school, maybe with not so good facilities, but the thing that will make this prayer to improve most will be the praying time that is given. So if a school only puts the prayer on the system and does not even enroll the prayer, it means that to some extent they are not interested in this prayer. And what we shall do is that for those prayers who are already on the system in some schools, but the schools have not shown interest in them by enrolling them to pray for the schools, we shall extend a small window. It will also be decided tomorrow in tomorrow's meeting. And that window we shall specify that maybe within the next 3 days or within the next 5 days, if a prayer has been in a school and he has not been enrolled, and maybe another school is interested in that prayer, then that prayer can be enrolled. And he does not now need to go back to the school. He only has to make an application to the prayer
status
committee or athletic status committee. And the athletic committee, if they find it important, they may consult with the losing school, but they all have the powers of moving the prayer, because we are also trying to make sure that the interests of these prayers are concerned. Another very important thing that we have discovered in this transfer exercise is that there are some schools, they promise the prayers bursaries, they even put them on the team. The prayers do all they have to do to make the school qualify. And sometimes when the school does not qualify, then these schools just throw them out of the school. Some of these schools do not even register the prayers. And for now, we have released a special guideline that prayer for us to protect the prayers yours, the prayer should be on full bursary. And what do we mean with full bursary? If we find that this prayer has a receipt where the prayer is paying for either tuition fee or boarding fees in your school, it will indicate to us that he's not on full bursary. So if that prayer wants to move from one school to another, and he has been on partial bursary, it may mean that even the small amount of money that he's supposed to pay, he cannot afford. So we cannot fail such a prayer from moving from your school to another. So if you want to protect your prayers, make sure they are on full bursary. But when we talk of full bursary, we do not mean that the parents should not contribute. No, the parent can still contribute, like buying boots and so on. But what we have specified is that your neighbor registration fees must be part of that full bursary. Because there are very many students, they do everything for schools, but when it comes to registration for UNEP, they are not registered. We have very many cases of last year. They appeared for some schools, but we have been surprised to note that they ended up not sitting even in those schools. And some of them even prayed for those schools. in the final championship, when registration process, normal registration process had ended. So these players had to look for money and go and register in other schools, because their previous school, the schools which they represented, did not register them. And we found that one was a violation of the players. Then the other thing that we are looking at is, we also note that there are some schools, once they give bursary to these students, they don't consider them as normal students. There are many schools which are having 2 trainings every day. They train in the morning, they train in the evening, and that means the players do not have time to do what? To
go
play.
Class.
So the prayer status committee is now going to be reinforced. It is going to be given more, I would think, more powers, and they will be able to look at all those circumstances before they refuse a prayer to move from one school to another. If we find that the prayer is not being given the environment at the previous school to study, as he plays football, then the prayer will have the prayer status committee will have a right of shifting other prayers. But we are also aware of those schools which make it impossible for some prayers to remain in certain schools. For example, you go to a championship, even in the middle of a championship, before the championship ends, they have already convinced the prayer, and when you are coming back, when you are supposed to come back with your prayers from the tournament, you find the prayers have already gone. Even if you want to give them to register them, even if you want to do anything, you find the prayers have already gone. So we shall now be looking at both sides. And once we look at both sides and we find that one side is not doing the best, then we release the prayer. But the final target is to make sure that we have formal contracts between the parents and the schools.
The parents, that's very important, because
which will be signed by the parents, signed by the school head teacher, and also, much as most of the prayers are under 18, and they will also, these prayers must also sign. And that contract, or such a contracts, we shall also be looking at the terms of the contracts, and there will be some special terms which will be special, which must be in those contracts. And we hope that by the end of the year, we shall have come out with that. And then there will also be a registry. Once such a contract has been signed, within our system, you will have to upload that contract. If you sign it and you do not upload it at the right time, then it will be null and what?
Void.
Null and void. Because we need to have a registry of those players who are on bursary, and then so that we are able to follow them, and then make sure that we protect both the young people who are in school and also the schools that are putting in so much money.
Yeah, because we look at the
talent of these players.
Let's give an example of Standard High School Zana.
Yes.
How much money would the school, does Standard High School Zana invest as far as bursaries is concerned?
What I can say here is that at school here, we have football boys. They are on bursary, about 25. Football girls, about 20. We have athletics. We have volleyball. All those are on. So on that minimum, they are 60. Our school fees is about 1.2. So that means every time we put only in bursaries, about 72 million. Now in a year, 72 million times 3, that is about 216 million.
Yes.
And that means over a 6-year period, when a student moves from senior 1 to senior 6, we have invested just in bursaries alone a minimum of 1.2 billion. That's a minimum of 1.2 billion.
Senior 1 to senior 6.
From senior 1 to senior 6. So that's a very huge investment. And what I can tell you is that for us, we are talking of 60. I know some schools
of 100 plus,
which have more than 100. And what is very important is that many of these 60 who are here enjoying the facilities of Standard High School, developing their talents, would not be in school.
Yes,
if we did not put there, if that bursary scheme would not be there.
Very
and that's why I'm so anxious and I'm so resolute that the schools that put in the bursaries should be protected
as well.
Because by protecting them, I'm actually protecting these children that would not be in school, but who are in school here.
Of course.
And I would, if I had time, I would give you examples of the Boboses, the what, who were on full
Bobos
Biaruhanga. Yeah, Biaruhanga, who were in full bursary in this school. The Ochans, the Kaizis, and all those people who have gone through
was
our
Mutiaba,
plus Mutiaba, Mike Mutiaba, plus everybody. All those, many of them would not be in the bursary. Like Mike Mutiaba, who is my coach,
yes.
He says it publicly, because I even had to buy him a mattress when he was coming in senior one here. So, you see, but now he's a coach.
And he's a former national team player.
He's a former national team player. He went out, made money, he's a rich man.
Very rich man.
Why? Yeah. Because Standard High School was able to develop his what? His talent.
Yes. Wow. Briefly, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to urge you to subscribe to the School Sports Podcast. That's a USSA TV. And the other thing is here, I want to tell you that we are at Standard High School Zana. You see this bus, it's not on the street. This bus is in the compound of Standard High School Zana. I would love to ask the cameraman, as I'm talking about Standard High School Zana, to show us what's happening around the school as we continue with the podcast. So we are hosting the president of Uganda Secondary School Sports Association, who is also the director of Standard High School Zana. Someone might want to think that...
And I do, that's why I bring them on, because I know they are doable, and much as sometimes they are expensive, much as sometimes they may be inconveniencing,
yes,
they are very, very, very necessary. Because I've had very many years of working with these young sportsmen and women. I've seen some of them go astray, but I've seen some of them also come out as very good citizens. I've seen some of them play with pride for the country.
Okay.
And I've seen some become very, very rich, even richer than me. So it's a passion. I'm passionate about it.
Yes.
And I'm passionate about protecting the rights of the players, and also protecting the rights of the schools that are investing so much in it. Not because I love those schools, but because I know if we don't protect them, if this system of bursary is stopped, there are very, very many young children that will
let me give you some numbers here.
To schools.
When the president says, as Tahiza, they have invested this amount of money, is on their portal right now, they have over 223, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 227 athletes on their portal registered for Standard High School Zana.
Yes, and okay, when we talk of Standard High School, and that's not all, because we have 2 campuses.
Okay.
We have Standard High School Zana, main campus, where we are, and we also have the Ndeje campus. So when if you include all, maybe we are talking about 300. But even there, we are not satisfied.
In fact,
because in our schools, in our 2 schools, we have a total of more than 2,500. Develop everybody's talent. Now, out of these 300 that are on the portal,
yes,
what it means is that 200 minus 60, that's about 190. They pay school fees. So that means their parents are free to move them from Standard High School to another school at any one time. Because our school fees is not low, it is high, and some of them may not qualify. But then the other good news is that there are those who come when they are paying.
Okay, and they request.
But then when their talents,
they try the skills.
They try, then they are picked on the school teams.
Yes,
the coaches, they can fit within the coaches. Then we bring those children now on full bursary. So, but then there are very many now who start on full bursary right away from senior 1.
Okay. So, President, what happens to a scenario whereby during this transfer deadline today, what happens to when a school is there a fee designated for the transfer fee?
No, transfer fee is just only 3,000.
Transfer?
No. There's no money for transfer as far as we are concerned. It is actually a free. The only money which we charge is the enrollment fee. Now, when you transfer a player and you do not enroll him, and the deadline ends, that player can now be enrolled by another what?
Another school.
Another school. He becomes free to move to another school. And for enrollment, what I want to explain is that there is a cost of the system, within the system of 500 shillings, but our charges are actually 3,000 shillings for each of them.
The fee, the other fee I'm talking about is, assuming you want a school from Chitende, or Chitende wants a student from Standard High School, Zana. Is there a designated fee for that transfer?
No.
Because some schools are asking for 7+ million shillings.
For us, what we are saying is that let the schools talk.
Agree.
Let the schools agree. Because I can tell you, I can have 60 students in senior 1. And after 4 years, how much will I have put into them?
60 students.
If I have 60 bursaries from senior 1 to senior 4, how much money will I have invested as a school? Because we are talking about that. Because that would be 1.2 million
times
60, that's 72.
Yes.
72 times 3.
Every time.
Then times 4. That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Now, out of those 60, whom I've taken from senior 1 to senior 4, not all of them will be very good talent.
No.
Maybe 1 or 2 will become a bobos.
Yes, of course.
So if out of my team, out of my 60, you want only 1, and I've invested money which is about 800 million. Now, if you want only 1, and you really come and you want to talk to me, how much should I charge you? Is 7 million a lot?
No.
7 million is not a lot. So before you go to someone's school to pick a player whom he has developed, first check your pockets. Because the man has the right of refusing. Yeah, the man can refuse. Because if I've given you a bursary from senior 1 to senior 3, senior 4. Now, in the senior 4, you go, and the other person comes, talks to your parents, you know, our school is better, because there are very many schools, for example, which are better than standard. And then the player comes and says, I want to move. But I've been with this player for 3 years, investing, so that he can play for me when he's more proficient, more mature, maybe in senior 4, 5, and 6. But then for you, you have waited, folding your hands, and you are coming to me when the player is now mature, ready to deliver.
Okay.
So how much money should I ask? So we have received very many calls that let us put there a maximum fee. But what we are saying is that go and develop as many players as what?
As you can.
So that you can have homegrown what?
Talents.
And then the other thing is that we have seen a very big distraction on these talented players. When a lot of interest comes onto them from everywhere. The truth is that these players no longer even go to class.
They are doing
because they know they can move from one school to another. So to cap them and make sure that they study from the school where they were, and they also give back to the what? We do not fix the maximum fee. Because if we, for example, if I had a player like Bobos, how much?
That's a lot of money. Right now he's playing from America.
Yeah. But then there is another player whom even doesn't fit on my team. And when he says he's going away, it's good what? It's good riddance. So when you come to me, I can say, just shake my hands. And you shake,
you take the
and
player.
you take. Another one I can say, just give me a ball. Another one I can say, give me a set of what?
Of jazzes.
Set of jazzes, which is maybe about 500,000. But if you come for my price, my bobos?
Okay.
No.
What of these people who are maybe kind of a player has left school A this year, 2024. Yes. He didn't play for school A. Okay, he's in school B now, right? The 2025. But last year he was registered on school A, okay, but he was studying from this school B. Okay, a player left Standard High School.
I'm getting you. I'm getting your question.
You leave the school.
The player was registered for Standard High School,
but the whole year.
He did not even end the year in Standard High School. He went to
another school
B.
Yes, to play.
And that's where he is now.
Yes.
But that player does not get automatic release. The player status committee must first investigate and know why did this player go.
Leave, okay.
If this school finds that he was induced by school B to leave the contract which he had with school A, And this school B did not mind because they wanted to use him in the next year.
When he has matured.
We shall still not use him, release him. Because this player still has a what?
Contract with the other school.
But if we find that this player, for example, moved because the other school stopped the bursary,
okay,
or he was not able to register, for example, for UNEB, that's one of the cases we have got. Then such a player, we shall let school B to have him.
Okay. Player status committee.
Yes, actually we call it athletic status committee.
I think that committee should be sitting every after when?
Oh, it is sitting now during this period. It is headed by Remba Hussein, and it has been sitting every day.
To make sure.
It has also Alisa Renyi, and it is supported by secretariat staff. They are doing a very good job.
Okay.
But we are now automating most of the things.
Yeah, surely.
And with time, they will not have to sit all the time.
All the time, yes.
Because most of the things will be done automatically, will be automated. And what they only have to do is to say yes or what?
Or no.
Or no.
And also streamlining things of the stakeholders understanding the policies, the regulations. For example, if you know that before you put a student on bursary, you must have a contract with the parent.
Yes.
So it is very easy for you to even claim in the near future. But imagine a student comes to Standard High School, he's on bursary. You have no contract with the parent. And then you claim, I'm not releasing this player.
Actually, what we have been looking at, the only way we could protect these schools, because we had earlier on, we had not told them you must have a what? A contract. Was say that, okay, let the parent who wants to move the child give proof that he was paying school fees.
Yes.
Because if the school has paid for you for 3 years, and now that the kid is mature, you just want to move, we say no. But we also say, but you can still move the kid. Because some of them were saying, no, I have a right of taking my kid to any school you want. I say, we tell them this is association what? Sports. Because we are an association. And our association, we have to protect our members. So, we are not stopping you from taking your child. Others were telling us, I'm moving from my child from school A, school B, because school B has a higher standard. We say, okay, go take your child, enjoy the high standards, but when it comes to the games which we are controlling, let him not play. And if this player can still go and play in the clubs, he can still play for interclass, but when it comes to our association, games, we shall not allow this child.
Okay. So, President, as we head into the, most of the district championships are starting. Some started today, but they're starting after the transfer window actually has closed. Someone would ask, will there be another opportunity for others to be enrolled and registered?
Of course, we are going to have a meeting tomorrow with the executive committee. Officially, we are supposed to have 2 registration windows. One now, and then another one is before board games 2. That is at the end of the board games 1. Then we put there another window. But this registration period at the beginning of the year is for all categories, both for board games 1 and board games 2.
Okay.
Why we put there a window is that there are kids who improve during these 3 months. You never knew this kid was good, but the kid has proved it to be so good that you want to include him on the what? On the team. But if you already have a player and you know he's good, please put him onto the what? Onto the system. Because if you don't put him into the system, then you are risking. Because another school may come for him, and then we give this child to another school because for you are not interested in that child now. Then the other thing I would say is that even now, when we go for board games 1, board games 1 will be taking place at the same time
with football,
with the under 16 categories of board games 2.
Yes.
That is like for netball now, we should be having qualifiers for under 16 for netball. We should be having qualifiers for under 16 volleyball. We should be having under 16 qualifiers for under 16. And all those cannot play if they are not in the what? In the system. So the system now accepts all players of all categories, both for term 1 games and then term 2 games.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are still continuing with the podcast. In the next few minutes, we shall be signing out from this podcast. But I want to remind you that the deadline day for the registration, enrollment, and transfers is today. By 11:59, we shall be closing the window for registration and enrollment plus transfers of the USSA online portal. I want to encourage every one of you to make sure you do the needful. The Secretariat is open to helping every one of you. Phone calls, on WhatsApp, on email. Please do whatever it's possible to make sure that you finalize on your systems. Make sure that these students are on your dashboard, because the games are starting by next week. Some zones have started today, some zones are starting tomorrow, and the other day is Monday, like that. So that we want to make sure these games are streamlined, because we want to eliminate these things of this player is ineligible, non-bona fide. We want to eliminate all that. We want to make sure that we lay a fair ground for everyone to participate into the USSSA games. So, President, as we finalize, what is that thing that you think that the schools, okay, the zones, the districts, and the schools should embrace a lot ahead of these qualifiers?
What is very important is that we want to streamline the games, and I'm glad to note that the games are already streamlined in most of the districts. First and foremost, make sure that anybody who is not registered in the system does not play. Then two, let's make sure that there is screening before the games. And when we talk of screening, there is physical screening and also paper screening.
Okay.
Now, paper screening is done before the game.
Albums,
and whatever. But then the screening, physical screening, where you compare someone's physical appearance with the photo which appears with the original documents, must happen just before the games. And we want this one to start right away from the district. Last year we had very many problems with many schools. We hope that this year they will not be there, because with our system, if you cheat, you will be caught.
Very much.
And when you are caught, you will definitely face sanctions. And we don't want many schools face sanctions. And this year we have been very... Then the other thing is about to make sure that there is a disciplinary committee at every level.
Okay.
And then the disciplinary committee must also be independent. Independent in the form that it should not be the organizing committee, which is the executive committee, which also at the same time transforms itself into the disciplinary committee. The executive committee should look at for people of integrity who know USSA rules, who also know the education system very well. And these people, they are given the role of being on the disciplinary committee. And once they have made a decision, that decision becomes final, but can be appealed from now districts to zone. And then from zone to national level. At the national level, we also have a disciplinary committee which will handle those cases.
Okay.
But now there can also be another appeal to the appeals board committee, which is headed by Commissioner Physical Education and Sports.
Okay. Okay. But President, would you love to give your final words?
Yes, my final word is that I wish all the schools well. This year we are going to have a very big attendance as far as these games are concerned. These games are now going to be well organized because we have trained very many games teachers. We have trained the students. We now have very many students who are the officiating officials. So we have no shortage, and we have proved that they are doing very well. The teachers and the executive members have gone through capacity building, where we are talking about administration and management courses. And we are just want to, at every level, the organizing committee to emulate what we do at the national level. And I can promise you, when you come at the national level, you'll find that we shall have set even higher standards. And when this one continues for maybe the next 10 years, I can assure you that Uganda will be among the best of the best when it comes to talent development. And that means we shall be bringing trophies and trophies to Uganda. Not only school trophies, but also national federation trophies across
all sports districts. Yes, of course, we manage all. Thank you so much, President, and I would love to thank every one of you who has been tuned to the School Sports Podcast. My name is Omaria Bosco. I want to remind you that you have been here at Standard High School Zana. This big mega bus here is in the school of Standard High School Zana. The camera people have been showing you the whole school and how it looks like. Not even the whole school, but part of the school. An area whereby students play from, they relax from after classes. And want to believe that by the next week, you'll be also tuned so that we continue with this School Sports Podcast. This is the 8th edition. And from me and the whole team of the Uganda Secondary Schools Sports Association, from the CEO and all secretary staff, we want to wish you a happy weekend. Bye-bye.
And Omario, thank you for this innovation.
You're welcome.
You have my back. Okay. I hope it has gone well.
Ready to dive into
you
the
know,
world
you came when I have this as a
from
now I'm
epic
brushing
wins to game-changing plays. We've
You want
got
pass
it
there?
all. Catch the
Is
School
anyone
Sports
of you a Muslim?
Podcast,
Yeah, this one. It's
telling
Shafiq.
tales,
Shafiq.
inspiring
Shafiq.
dreams, and promoting champions. Streaming every Friday. Don't miss out on USSSA TV. Ready to dive into the world of school sports? From epic wins to game-changing plays, we've got it all. Catch the School Sports Podcast, telling tales, inspiring dreams, and promoting champions. Streaming every Friday. Don't miss out on USSSA TV. Ready to dive into the world of school sports? From epic wins to game-changing plays, we've got it all. Catch the School Sports Podcast, telling tales, inspiring dreams, and promoting champions. Streaming every Friday. Don't miss out on USSSA TV. Ready to dive into the world of school sports? From epic wins to game-changing plays, we've got it all. Catch the School Sports Podcast, telling tales, inspiring dreams, and promoting champions. Streaming every Friday. Don't miss out on USSSA TV. Ready to dive into the world of school sports? From epic wins to game-changing